So we're back. All Talk, No Chill. Episode officially 2.
No.
Yeah.
This is not episode 2. This is technically our 3rd full episode, but
Oh, yes.
4th episode. It's actually episode 4 because we had our mini episode in there.
Okay.
So this is episode 4.
So I don't know what's going on, and that reveals more behind the scenes scoop that Meg is the one who edits. I just show up.
Yep.
And send texts nonstop about breaking news that we should talk about on the pod. And social media, of course, which it was tough to post Academia, but it's our...
You took one for the team.
I took one for the team, and it is our most viewed reel. We went from the 50s to 60s in follower count due to this reel. So I'd say that was really our launch into stardom. Yeah, and I'm ready for it.
We have so much to talk about.
Oh, you just want to jump right into it? Okay.
I feel like we're ready. Some meaty topics. And
yes, but everyone needs to stay tuned for the end because we're doing our first rabbit hole of the week, which it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm excited for. But I'm also very excited to talk about Summer House, which has been a surprise. My notes, I have so many notes.
I have so many notes.
Okay, can we just start from the top of episode 1?
Yes.
Because I want to dissect it. I want to go in.
The only word that comes to mind is eerie. Like
eerie.
Seeing Carl and Lindsay at the end of when he called off their marriage and then rewinding to just 2 months prior.
Oh, yeah.
Is shocking. Not shocking because we knew it, but to see that it was only 2 months ago that they were filming this, exciting.
And the editing, 10 out of 10. Just in that first few minutes where we had the moment that they ended their engagement, when Carl said, well, she's just going to claim she was blindsided, and cuts to, Dad, I'm totally blindsided. Lindsay, from what the other Summer House cast members say, I think as viewers, she's very predictable, but I think the cast members and her friends have her down to a T. Like, they know when she's going to erupt, what she's going to say, what narrative she's going to spin. But I do want to say that in this season, I know you are full ride Carl.
Yeah.
I am going to play devil's advocate because I want to bring both viewpoints to the table. It has been tough so far because...
Yeah, I'm looking forward to what you got because...
I mean, I just said devil's advocate. I didn't say I'm choosing her side.
Okay.
But it's tough so far. So
the first episode... One of the first scenes that I made note of, which kind of like made me roll my eyes because I'm over Danielle.
Oh.
I used to love her. She used to be one of my favorite on Summer House. And now I'm just over her. I think
Winter House did
it in for me. Her and that Alex arc was so hard to watch and so cringy. It was just desperate.
I think Danielle is the prototype, the archetype of crazy girls. Not that all girls are crazy, but she isn't helping our case. She's not helping our case.
No, she's not making me like pro female right now because the first scene when it was her, Paige, and Sierra in the car, and she was like, yeah, I was out at the Hamptons last weekend, saw Robert and his new girlfriend, and everyone was like freaking out, like, oh my God, his new girlfriend.
Yeah.
They broke up 7 months ago.
So long ago.
They broke up in November of 2022, and this was July of 23. Like, yeah, he's got a new girlfriend. So what? Why is this such a huge deal?
She claimed that they worked together.
She claimed there was overlap with like...
But she's just saying that based off of, I don't know.
Even if there
I feel like if that's true, that would have come through the media, come through her storyline, come through things she said earlier on.
But even if it was true, why are we still 7 months later?
Yeah.
Like, let the guy live.
Yeah, and she is a relationship person at heart, and I think she is forcing her single girl summer so much. The libido comment, I didn't need that. I really didn't. She thrived as a side character. She thrived as far as reality
to be
TV.
A main character.
Yeah, as far as reality TV, she thrives as Supporting actress, yes. So we were introduced to our new cast member.
2 new cast members.
Oh, the only one on my mind
the
currently
one that matters.
is, I'm going sequentially, West with a hard T.
Conrad Wilson.
Vaginas and Cattle.
Mm-hmm.
That's him. Sums it up.
I love him.
I love him.
I was talking to my friend Liz the other day, who is also an avid Summer House watcher.
Okay.
And we were saying how we think we like kind of not equating him, but comparing him to when Luke came onto Summer House and was the new...
She loves Luke.
Yeah.
You love Luke. I don't know. West
Luke.
is better than Luke.
Well, we were comparing him to like when Luke first came on into Summer House and like his impact. And we like West much better just because his like sense of humor, he's like quick, he's
secure.
Like, yes.
He's a secure man.
Even though he was super... I mean, I don't think he was very self-conscious about Jesse coming in because they were all like, he's as tall as Carl.
He's not blind. He's not blind.
Like, all right, I've been told I read tall, he said.
Tall energy.
Yes.
Jesse came in and when we saw the height, we're like, damn it. When he sang, I'm like, that, ooh.
And honestly,
that is a knife to the heart.
a little too big for me.
Oh, no, I was saying this singing, a tall, dark, and handsome, and he sings, good for West for hanging in there, but then he kind of, his personality wasn't there.
A guy who can sing a plus for you?
I mean, the guitar and singing got you with Luke, so I thought that you would get it.
Not the singing, the guitar playing
singing by
for
the foyer.
sure. But a jazz singer, I don't know if that's really doing it for me.
Yeah, okay, that's good. That was a test.
Yeah.
You passed.
Okay.
Yeah, Jesse's a big...
And I was like, his smile touches ear to ear. He has a very big smile.
I can't comment on that because my husband has the biggest smile I know, but which I love. I love big smiles. I love big smiles. No, I love big smiles, but on Jesse, I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah. Wes has already had some really good one-liners.
He's
really quickly,
a
which I
level 3
appreciate
tear when he was born, which I love that he knows that about himself.
I mean, when your mom's an OBGYN, I'm sure.
But not every guy would own it. Not every guy would take interest to his mother's profession. He's a family man. And I mean, in the second episode, when he did the 2.2 second cattle or bull ride.
So embarrassed.
I mean, was it one hand or two hands?
In his defense, he was wearing sequin pants, which were probably not great to grab on. Sierra was wearing shorts. Like, I think the odds were stacked against him in that. So I defend him. He was also being one hand. She had two hands on.
No, she had one hand.
No, she had two.
Oh, she claimed she had one.
She claimed because she wanted to sound like she did one, but she was holding on for dear life with two. Anyways.
Okay.
I digress. West is great.
Oh, wait. I need to talk about Lindsay and Carl talking about the White House invite.
Oh, I had on here. Why did they get invited to the White House?
No. Listen to what they said. They said, who gets invited to the White House? We get invited. And then skips to a few seconds later, and Lindsay says, my friend is a publicist, and she got us an invite. Okay, so you
didn't get
the invite. But they're like, who gets invited? We get invited. I got myself invited. So Paige, Sierra, and Danielle were talking about what era they're in, which I just love how Taylor Swift is, immersed in our culture, in reality right now, the Eras Tour. What era would you say you're in?
Oh my gosh.
Needlepoint era?
My grandma era.
Eclectic grandma.
Eclectic grandma. Needlepoint, reading, and...
That really is you.
Yeah.
I'm in my motorcycle. No, just kidding.
Biker chick.
Minus the bike. Honestly, I'm in my suffering era. I've just... my confidence has taken a dip recently, maybe with all the videos I've had to watch, so I'm trying to climb back up in IDGAF era. So I'll let you know how that goes.
Perfect. I'm excited to see Paige back. I love Paige. And her and Craig. I will admit, when they first started dating, I questioned it. I wasn't sure if it was going to be endgame, but now they are 100% my Jackie O and JFK.
Yes.
They are perfection.
Perfection.
Paige was talking about, I just love that Paige can make fun of Craig, and she acknowledges that he is like a giant man baby.
Yeah.
And she's like, what did she say? I've been taking care of him for 2 years now, which haven't we all with our significant others, just taking care of them, making sure they stay alive.
Haven't we all?
She's like, he looks like, I tell Craig all the time, he looks like he came off the Mayflower. Like he's just a little pilgrim man. She keeps him humble.
So good. That was so good.
Yes.
And it just to see Craig and have his heart broken by Naomi back in the day, and to find Paige at the end of all this.
I know.
Oh, it's so good.
I love them.
And I really don't co-sign all of the negative discussions around the fact that Paige isn't moving with him. I think what she's not saying is she doesn't want to leave her family, but also her job is in New York right now, so it makes sense. And they're always together.
I know firsthand because I got my brother a cameo for his 30th birthday from Craig, because we are all very big Craig fans in this household. Yes. And Craig said in the cameo that he spends 60% of his time in New York City. And Paige is there in Charleston 40% of the time. So
you heard it here first, folks. That is some piping hot tea.
He's splitting up he's giving her the majority of the time in New York.
That's a statistic. That's a hard fact. You can't argue with that. No. That's amazing. So Amanda and Kyle.
This breaks my heart.
This is actually hard to watch. And I will say the first episode, I was like, because it's always about picking sides, right? I was more on Kyle's side. The second episode, I'm like, ooh, I'm starting to see some cracks in Kyle's argument. I can see Amanda's frustration. But let's just talk about the first episode to start.
It's hard to watch because they were doing so good post-wedding. Like leading up to the wedding, they were in a ton of fights and it was not good. After the wedding, they were doing so good. And it was like a new Kyle and Amanda. And now seeing them bickering like pre-3 seasons ago. And just like, we're back here again?
Yeah. And for those not familiar, Amanda and Kyle are the longest running couple in the show. We watch them deal with infidelity in the summer and then ultimately get married. And you would think once you hit marriage, it's smooth sailing, at least nothing from that reality TV is going to get much out of. Also, Kyle is nearing is he 40?
I think he's nearing 40.
He's nearing 40, if not already 40. And Amanda's younger, in her late 20s, early 30s.
I think she's 32, 31.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, but around there. And they're hitting a point in their marriage where it doesn't see. I kept writing down, I feel like we're missing a piece of the puzzle because the fight seemed so surface level. But then I really think
it's deeper.
It's deeper.
For sure.
And I'm like, why aren't they sharing the real issue? But I think it's the real issue is that they can't communicate day to day. And he's always working, and it's now preventing them from having a child, which Kyle's blaming Amanda for that and saying, she's not ready. I have to do it all. She's not ready. And then she's on the side saying, I don't know why he's saying that because he's
projecting
holding
onto her, his insecurities.
Yeah. And I actually think I could see that.
I could see that too.
Because she's a great little dog mom.
She is, but I also feel like,
not that it's
first of all, I don't think they should be working together.
Yeah.
I think that doesn't help their marriage and relationship.
Yeah.
And I can see the argument of Kyle being frustrated with Amanda because he's super hard worker and like this is his company. This is his life that he needs to make sure is successful. And Amanda, I think even more like past seasons, we kind of know Amanda is not the most motivated and hardworking person. I think I get the vibe that she just wants to like get by with the bare minimum to just like say she's done it. And so I think that frustration from Kyle is valid of, hey, we need to have a successful business so that we can take a step back and actually have a family. Because if you're not going to help me now, then I'm not going to be able to be present for when we do have kids because I still have a company that I need to run.
But I think they need to be, I think that's all very true. And they need to be more honest with, especially with their strengths. Like if Amanda's strength is not working, like
Amanda didn't want to be on a Monday morning call because she wanted to do it on Tuesday, which same, I wouldn't want to either.
And that's ridiculous if you're working for a corporation, you say, I don't want, then maybe Amanda shouldn't be in that role. Yeah, so West and Sierra are developing a little... I love
that Sierra just like gravitated towards him so organically and naturally.
Yes.
And Kyle even said to West, like, Sierra does not do this. Like, she is a very like closed off right away. She takes a while to warm up. And the fact that she just like was drawn to him, which I think that his energy just like exudes that. But it was just so cute to see of like Sierra putting herself out there unknowingly because I don't think she realized she was doing it. I don't think
she realized it, but then it was like the second episode she made a comment. She said, oh my gosh, he's obsessed with me, and that was cute. And then she's like, he's funny. I like that he's funny, but I've done funny.
Yeah.
And it's almost, I think she's shooting herself in the foot because he's doing that because she's responding.
Self-preserve herself because we all got to do that.
I don't know. But I just feel like it's almost spoiled because if they were together today, we would probably know about it, right?
Probably. I mean, I by no means was thinking that they're going to start dating and be the next Sam and Corey, but I think they're going to have a cute little summer fling.
You know they broke up though, right?
Oh, 1,000% yes.
Yeah.
That was never going to happen.
I'm immediately always like, marriage, like I want them to be endgame. I'm a little bit of that crazy girl that Danielle was.
Like, nah,
I just wanted to be locked down.
Fun summer fling, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fun summer fling. Got it. I need to remember that.
Keep that in mind so you're not
Summer's
let
supposed
down
to be
too
fun.
much. Summer is supposed to be fun.
Okay.
I will say though, as far as fun goes, it's been interesting to watch the evolution of Summer House from the first season to where we are now. Of when Summer House first started, everybody was in their 20s. I mean, granted, Kyle and Carl were always older, so they were like late 20s, early 30s, going out every night, getting super drunk, all these crazy fights. And now we fast forward to everyone's in their 30s, and they're going to a family-friendly carnival on their first weekend there. And for the longest time, they kept saying, we're going to the carnival. What are we going to wear to the carnival? And in my head, I was like, oh, a fun new bar that they're going to in the Hamptons called the Carnival. And then fast forward to them actually being at a carnival. They were home probably before midnight and in bed. And that's where we're at.
Lower stakes. Kyle used to sleep in other girls' beds, and now he's
with
sleeping with
banana.
Mon. Yeah, Mon.
We've come far.
We've come so far.
I feel like some people are kind of over the fact that like they're getting older and lamer. I still like it. I like seeing. I can relate to it more. I think.
Yes.
As a 30-something-year-old, of like, yeah, this is more realistic.
Yeah, I like it. I do worry about the future of the show, and I hope that the relationships will continue to be like complex and interesting, and that new cast members will be introduced. And after this summer, I don't want it to be the Scandival effect where it's just Carl and Lindsay in a house next summer and we're seeing how it goes. Like, I don't want that. I want something.
It pains me to say, but I feel like Kyle, Amanda, Carl, Lindsay, their time is kind of over.
Yeah.
And we need to bring in some like new, fun, younger people.
Like Carl, I bet
like
you this
West
environment
adjacent,
doesn't serve
more
him.
single people.
Yeah.
Like, half of the people
West adjacent.
Half of the people in the house are in committed relationships. Where's the fun in that?
I know.
We're here for the like hookups and the
bring the twins back. No, they're married.
The Workus twins are definitely.
Yeah, no.
Bring back Steven.
Steven. I love Steven too. Yeah, and then Jesse, I wrote down, I want to transport back in time and whisper into West's ear when Jesse walked in, like, you have tall energy. Ignore him. Ignore him. It's all a facade. But he's confident enough that he could hold his own. Yeah, and just watching Sierra, just that Riley went, my husband, he went, oh, she did a little
arm.
She did a little shoulder grab right in front of Wes, and I just was like, oh, my heart hurts for him. But I still don't think they evolve into anything, so I'm not worried.
No, I'm not worried about Jesse.
No, I would be the psycho person that's like, oh my god, it's over. It's over. Did you see that hand and everyone
I think Wes is too confident.
He is. He's a good guy.
Knock him down early on.
Said to Meg, I feel hopeful that West could be a great goal guest podcast. How would you say that?
A guest on our podcast?
A guest on our podcast. Like, that should be what we're aiming for. I don't think we'll ever nail, knock on wood, Paige or Craig, but like maybe West. And then we figured out quickly he has a thriving podcast.
He's had some A-listers on, so.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Maybe.
Who knows?
If you're interested, West,
hit us up. You never know when it's the perfect kind of swirl that we'll just have both of us take off.
That was pretty much all of episode 1. And then we went to episode 2, which was this past week. It took me a really long time to put together this party. I kept writing down, what is the theme of this party? What is this party for? It was the 4th of July party.
I thought that they started so late in the summer.
They started late in the summer, but also...
I bet you it's because the wedding.
A lame 4th of July party.
I know.
They used to be like the biggest parties that they would throw in the summertime. And this one was underwhelming. Whatever the theme was, I also noted that the guests were not looped in.
I didn't even...
People who were showing up were not looped in. I think it was something with like glitter and
there's a
cowboys or something. I'm like I said,
strong enough.
Unclear on the theme. It was not strong enough.
No, do better.
Execute. And the party overall is just kind of underwhelming.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Paige should have added that
especially
to her notes.
Especially for first weekend.
I know. As Paige left, she was like, all right, everyone, nice job. Great.
No notes.
Keep up the energy, except for Jesse. Kick it up a notch. No notes. None of their notes. And I'm like, I think she's being dead serious because Jesse was a little of a...
Yeah. I mean, in his defense, though, he just got there like the day of the party.
Yeah.
It takes a while to ramp up.
And he did open up about his cancer diagnosis, which that's a lot. So good for him to open up.
That was after the party.
Well, yeah, it was after the party, but it was that weekend. No, it was the next weekend. Yeah, Jesse just landing that line, so I'm only supposed to hook up with single girls.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a red flag for me.
That was definitely red flag.
Went on to Paige, leave
her alone.
Leave her alone. But also I'm not worried about Paige because she can handle herself. So
she can handle herself. And Craig wasn't jealous, which is classic. Oh, this gave me the ick. I'm a killer. I get with girls. That's what Jesse said.
He called himself a killer?
He said, I'm a killer. I get with girls. Like, inferring he can't be stopped. He can't be stopped if the girl's in the relationship or not. He can't help it. And that was
that line.
Oh, yeah. Unless I made it up. But I don't think I made it up because I wrote it down. And then, yeah, his cancer diagnosis definitely humanized him a bit. But not that there should be a but. He still needs to kick the idea of hooking up with girls in relationships, I think.
Oh, yeah, of course. But that whole scene was made by West's comment to Sierra after Jesse went through this super heartfelt share of his journey with cancer. He's all great. West leads over to Sierra and he's like, can you imagine if I went after Jesse and I shared like I've been all to 50 states.
I missed that. That's so funny.
It's like that would have been awkward.
Good thing he went first. It's hard to follow a cancer diagnosis for sure.
For sure. Then Carl and Lindsay
also Danielle's peck. Did you catch that?
Her peck?
She pecked this guy at the party. And it didn't seem like it was reciprocated. And I'm like, how the producers definitely left it in there because it was so cringy, but it wasn't enough to keep focusing on. But he was not feeling it.
Missed that.
It was, consider yourself lucky. Carl and Lindsay with the shebang of an ending. And this, I like it. I like that we're getting front row seats.
Wait, shebang of, I'm not there yet. I'm just, when they got to the house and Lindsay was already being like...
The rooms.
West being the gracious king that he is, giving up the room to Carl and Lindsay because he acknowledged that they had the room last year. All he wanted was his little fan because he runs hot.
And look at the guy.
And the room downstairs is hot. That's why he moved upstairs. And Lindsay, being the person that she is,
I know the temperature of the upstairs room. I've been in that room for 7 years.
Like, give the kid the fan.
And they're friends. Like. And you can tell West was trying not to say anything negative in his confessional.
He was tiptoeing so much, and I think he said in his confessional,
they told me it wouldn't.
People aren't their biggest fans, so I wanted to like go in and be.
Oh my god! And then when she got in there, and West was in there, and then they didn't realize it, and he's
all
like
the stuff
trying to get all this stuff, and they come in and they're just like shit talking him, and he's like, I feel like I'm in the middle of something. Like, oh,
poor guy.
You know, people's true character comes out when they are walked in on, or they walk in on someone talking about them, and he's just a little goofball, and I love it. I would cry and scream, and that's me.
You would go downstairs and immediately start crying.
Yes,
100%. Yeah,
you'd be like, and then walk away.
Cool.
Yeah. So I think it was excellent precursor to the situation that unfolded in the car, because it showed how Lindsay, when she's anxious about a situation, just it comes out in
projects
anger
everywhere.
Yeah,
else.
Intolerance. The Head and Shoulders was falling on the shower. She was getting all frustrated, which I felt that. And she's like, ow! And I'm like, that would happen to me. And this weekend, when I was just, my 4 out of the 5 animals were throwing up, and then I spilled shepherd's pie all over me, and then Sunny ate all of it, and I had oil stains all over my clothing, and then Sunny started then throwing up the shepherd's pie. So
wow,
I know the feeling of it all
when it rains.
It pours. Okay, let's just summarize what happened.
It was like a movie.
It's like a movie.
Again, the editors, great job.
10 out of 10.
Of getting everybody's point of view, because they weren't filming in the Uber. So it went from
leaving Summer House to docuseries.
Yes, it went from them leaving the house to go out that night. Everyone was like doing good. And then it fast forward to them coming back, and it was like all hell broke loose.
I mean, I did like the way they interviewed everyone, but if this doesn't say they need a Sprinter van, I don't know what does. They need a Sprinter van where there are cameras.
No Ubers. We gotta look at below deck. We gotta get the cameras in there. We gotta be following
They gotta be mic'd up.
Yes.
And so apparently all that was said was Lindsay said, I'm worried that the girls are going to be mad that I rode with the guys.
She was feeling self-conscious that she wasn't in the car with all the girls and she was with the guys, and she was feeling like they were going to be saying things about her while she wasn't around them.
Yeah. And then Carl said something like, don't worry about it.
Even
Lindsay recapping, it's not like she recapped him saying anything crazy. Right. She just said, he shut me down. He shut me down. There was nothing. And as someone who is highly emotional.
What was Carl supposed to do? Say, yeah, you know what? Yeah. They might be. Like, he's not going to rile her up more. He's like, it's not a big deal.
And as someone who is highly emotional and is constantly feeling things that are way too big for me to contain, I appreciate my husband or close friends validating me, but at some point I need them to check me and be like, stop worrying about it.
Yes.
And that's something you do. That's something my husband does. Like, in that moment, Carl is probably like, you need to stop worrying about it. Stop. We're going out. And she immediately went into, what are you on? Which the backtracking she has done since, I just can't, which we'll get to. But then everyone else said she went from
everybody
0
in the
to
car,
100.
And at, like, when they got there, even the girls were like, what
Amanda
happened?
With the notes. Amanda with the notes.
And Gabby was like, she said she wanted to leave and I didn't even get a drink yet. And she just came in like a tornado.
So then we go back to the house.
Amanda having her notes.
Queen. And she knows how to get that check. Lindsay did not say, not once, not twice, I think he's on something. She associated him with cocaine so many times. Yes. And I know 100%.
In the kitchen, in the living room, upstairs in Gabby's room. Like,
texting. Yes. That was her belief 100%. And I actually don't even know if she fully believed that, but she knew that that was the thing to justify her rage.
Yes.
And also, I think what it really is, you know, that scene when Carl was like, get ready for me. I found my confidence in my sobriety. Like, get ready for me. Cocaine is known to cause an inflated sense of confidence. So I hear, I genuinely don't know, but I think that's what the idea. And Lindsay in the past had experienced Carl all revved up and confident and hot-headed. And now in that moment in the car, he was probably being confident and putting his foot down, not the meek Carl that she first started dating that was still finding his footing in his sobriety. And she doesn't like him confident. She doesn't want him confident.
Yeah.
She wants him weak.
Yeah, I agree. Because she likes to have the upper hand in everything. She needs to be the dominant in the relationship. And now that Carl is confident in himself and
not
who
even
he
dominant,
is,
just
not even dominant, just confident in himself as a man, she's like, no. We got to knock him down a couple rungs.
And then the next morning when she goes in, unhinged. She's yelling at him.
Yeah.
And then he starts getting mad, which I think...
I would have gotten mad too.
I would have gotten more mad than that.
Completely justified.
Like, for sobriety, that is the biggest insult. And the thing I said that I was going to be on Lindsay's devil's advocate is, yes, when you're in a relationship with someone with an addict, the fear of them, you know, relapsing is a very real fear. And especially if they've broken your trust over and over again. He hasn't done that to Lindsay.
He's never done that. No.
They started dating when he was sober. Like, that's not something she can throw around. So I immediately did devil's advocate and started rebutting it because it's so unacceptable. And I actually don't even think he could have gotten more mad and been completely in the right.
Yeah, 1,000%. Because I don't even know if he knew at the time of what she was saying about him.
Yes.
He just knew that she said, I don't even know what she said to him directly about him being on something. Are you on something? Is what she said. On something.
And he said, I'm sober right now. And then she's like, why'd you say right now?
What do you mean right now? Because you've been drunk all night. You weren't sober.
Yeah. If you're even playing that game with words, Lindsay, you're in the wrong. If you're even questioning that. And now let's read her.
Yes, I wrote it down as well.
After watching back this week's episode, I wish I had used better wording.
Like,
it was just a matter of
not accusing your sober fiance of drugs.
Yeah. I was emotional and hurt by what had transpired earlier in that night. I'm still waiting to know what she actually thinks transpired. And what I said was meant to be a private conversation at home with one of my best girls.
Time out. You have been on Summer House for how many years? A reality TV show where you are followed with cameramen. There are cameras in every corner of the bedroom and the house, except the only place not with cameras are in the bathroom. You have mics on What do you mean? You think you were in a private conversation with one of your best girlfriends?
Yeah. Like, I'm just annoyed by what she even is
psychotic.
Implying. You know that you were being recorded. You know that. And it's not like Gabby spilled the beans. Like, she said it in front of other people, to Carl, to Gabby. She was spurting it.
Right.
I have never questioned his sobriety before this moment, but you did then, and he did many times. Mm-hmm. And from day one, I was his biggest supporter. I have always been transparent on the show about my feelings, and have leaned on my friends for support, and that was my only intention here. It's just
her
BS.
saying, like, I've never questioned his sobriety before. I've always been his biggest supporter. That's like saying to somebody who's like a cheater, being like, well, I've never cheated on them before. I've always loved them.
Yes.
And now all of a sudden, like, that doesn't make it any better that you cheated now. Like, it doesn't make it any better that you're now saying it.
Yeah, exactly.
Who cares if you've been his biggest supporter? You're still
and you can
making
still
these insinuations.
Be his biggest supporter and still F up. I don't think you're his biggest supporter after this scenario, but like, just acknowledge you effed up.
Yeah, I would have respected her more if she came out and been like, I was completely, like, I was drunk.
With
I
rage.
wasn't. Yes, I should have never said that.
Yeah.
I completely regret it because I acknowledge saying something like that to somebody who is sober is not okay.
Yeah. It's like,
but for her to be like doubling down of like, well, this is why, this is, no.
And
there's no room for that.
She's in PR. What is she thinking?
Yeah, she is in PR.
I'm so
I wouldn't hire her.
And then she did an interview with someone and they're like, did you ever think Carl was on something? Which clearly she asked them to ask that question. She said, no, absolutely not. I just said that it was similar to cocaine, Carl. Did you not watch the same show as us?
I mean, I will go to say that it's all making sense of
that
like
alone.
This just supports Carl's decision of why he called it off even more now.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always been Team Carl, so
I just wanted to wait and see because I thought there was the possibility of maybe Carl does have a little bit of Peter Pan syndrome and is no.
All right. So next up, I really want to talk about, this has escalated quickly for me, this topic of Kristin Cavallari. And you were saying earlier that the pipeline from Summer House to Kristin Cavallari is not as long as one would think.
No, because Paige did say that she was the one person she's been like jealous or insecure of Craig possibly hooking up with was Kristin Cavallari.
There was always speculation that they had hooked up, but then it came out that it was actually her and Austin from Southern Charm who were kind of like having a thing. So yeah, there is some relation there.
Yeah.
Kristin Cavallari, OG, this is like my Laguna Beach Hills millennial. She is a millennial icon. Mm-hmm. And she was married to...
Oh my God. I don't remember his name either.
I've blocked him out because I just don't like him, that football player.
Oh, I like him.
No. Oh.
I mean...
Crap, what is his name? That's the one thing I didn't write down.
Jay Cutler.
Jay Cutler. Okay, there we go. So she was married to Jay Cutler, she has 3 kids with him.
They had a show.
They've been divorced for a while now.
Like 2-3 years, yeah.
But Kristin has always notoriously been very private with like her dating life and who she's seen, who she's not. There's been some speculation that she was seeing or dating Tyler Cameron from The Bachelor like a year or 2 ago.
Because they did an ad
They did
together.
their, her jewelry line was doing their shoot and he was in it.
Yes.
She has recently come out and made a pretty hard launch of her new boyfriend. Who is 24 years old.
24 years old.
The way I ran to his Instagram page when she posted it, and one of the first posts on his page was him playing in his senior college football game. And scroll down a little bit more, you got some prom pics in there. The kid is
oh my God, the prom pics.
Fetus. So he's
zygote.
24 years old, and she is 37 with 3 kids.
I think it's love.
To put it into perspective, so this is a 13-year age difference. To put into perspective, this would be like me dating somebody who's 20 years old. And this would be like you. This is good. You dating a 13-year-old.
Yes. See, I really don't think that love... I think that love can happen despite any age difference. And I think there are many scenarios where it does work. It's what the age difference is and where they're in life and if the values are lining up. And he's in college, so...
Well, he's graduated now. Don't worry.
Oh.
He's graduated.
Oh, he's graduated.
He's not in college anymore.
No, then what's he playing football-wise?
Oh, no, he's not playing football anymore. That was
really?
like his... Yeah.
Okay, so he's fresh off college.
Yes.
And many people after college mature, settle down, get a job. Also, some people continue living out their college years. So it doesn't seem like he's it seems like he's still like a college young guy. It's just messing with my mind because he's younger than me, and I'm used to being like the younger
so
side of things.
All for her having fun. I definitely, like, I don't think she's dating to marry the guy, but it brought up, a lot of people have been saying how there's this double standard of people wouldn't be batting an eye if this was an older man dating a younger girl, and how that is a much more accepted thing in society of older men dating younger women. But when it's the opposite, it's like taboo. Because recently, I don't know if you saw, but Bradley Cooper and Gigi Hadid are dating, and that's a 20-year age difference. But that to me is not as weird as Kristin dating a 24-year-old.
It's not about the age difference. It's about the circumstances along with the age difference. You know what I mean? Like, Gigi has a kid. And so, Brad, I think that's why it's normalized to you, because they're both
I think it's more normal. It's gender for me.
Okay.
Older men dating younger women, fine. Older women dating younger men, not fine. And I will say, science. Quite literally, women are just biologically more mature earlier than men. Like, it's the maturity of, like, developmentally. Men are not fully mature. Like, I looked this up. Women psychologically reach their full maturity at 32.
Okay.
Men are said to reach full maturity 10 to 11 years later.
Oh, okay.
So Kristin
this
is at full maturity. This kid, 24, isn't mature for another, like, 5 years.
She's older not only dating a 24-year-old, she's dating a 24-year-old male
minus,
whose
like,
frontal lobe isn't all there.
His frontal lobe has not fully developed yet. His neurons are not firing on all cylinders yet. It's not there. Whereas an older man who, like, takes more time to mature, so by 40, he's fully mature. And to be dating a younger woman, there should be, hopefully, emotionally and, like, mentally at the same level, regardless of the age difference. Okay, so it's not as weird to me.
At first, I thought you were saying, like, the gender norms are so entrenched in you that you just have a repulsion to the idea of Kristin. No, but I think you're like, why does this feel unnatural to me? And you're like, because there already is a difference in maturity, and then you add the age gap, and
it's even more.
How are you guys lining up right now? Yes. Did you see the Montana Boyz TikTok?
Montana Boyz with a Z.
With a Z. I was like, it's like a frat boys are making a TikTok, and then Kristin Cavallari pops out of there, and then they start touching it.
So what? It's like him and 4 of his bros from college just lip singing to country songs.
The comment section was so funny. It was like, I didn't know her. When did her kids get so old?
Does she make them an after school snack too?
Yeah.
That's really all I got on that. It's just
an important development.
It's not a good look. I say I'm all for female empowerment, but sometimes I'm just not.
Okay, let's take about how long do you think you foresee them together?
A couple months.
I think a hot and heavy 6 months, and then they'll call
6. Wow. I give them 3.
3 more months. It'll probably be 6 months total.
Okay.
So yeah, I was
going to say 3 months.
Total.
Flat. Yep.
I feel like they're probably at the... Okay. All right. So we're looking short term.
Very. Yep.
Vanderpump
the Tahoe
rules.
episode.
The Tahoe
we go to Tahoe.
I remember sitting by as they were filming. This is still when we were, chomping at the bit for more Scandival content, and we knew they were filming in Tahoe. Like, how did they all get together? But now that it's here, it's exciting, but it's also like, okay, we know so much now.
Yeah. I think you said it best that Brock and Hippie, aka formerly known as Graham Cracker, really carried the weight of the episode on their shoulders.
And their backs are tired.
I agree.
Brock, it's not that I always agree with his opinions. Like, his reaction to Sheena's OCD was problematic at best, but overall, he's raw, he's genuine, he's bringing up the tough conversation that Sheena doesn't want to have.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, and he's
I would be frustrated too if I was the guy.
I know. He's
like, we need a nanny that's not your mom or a sister or close friend.
That's kind of like a new development that I grew up, my mom, she would probably trust me with someone off the streets that said they babysat. Like, she wasn't very protective. She was not an alarmist.
Yeah, and you have like the random neighbor kid down the road who is a babysitter. You'll see it in a couple hours.
Yeah. And now I think there's a different philosophy towards it where it's like family, friends only. And I'm sure that's sometimes for the best, but it doesn't seem like it's for the best for Brock and Sheena, who can't.
Brock just doesn't want his mother-in-law
always
at
the
house all the time, which also can't blame him.
And I was confused where they said they hired Tori, her friend, who I've heard rumors is the one that hooked up with both Katie Maloney and Tom Schwartz, but I think we'll get to that later in the season.
Oh.
Anyways, Tori all of a sudden is unavailable because her other mother who she was working for had a baby. And I'm like, didn't you know
No, that wasn't Tori. That was a nanny that they were going to hire, like an actual nanny that Sheena had finally approved and they were going to hire. Sheena was telling Brock, the other family that she nannies for just had another baby. So she's now going to be nannying for like a child and a newborn. And she's like, so it's out. We can't hire her because she's going to be too busy with this newborn baby.
Okay, well, I just feel like you knew newborn baby was coming.
I would also argue that Schwartz also carried a lot of weight on his shoulders this episode. He was giving the energy of a stay-at-home mom, super frazzled about hosting a play date with his child who he knows is problematic and gets in fights and was inviting over the elementary school kids' friends.
That's so true.
He was tense, which
he was tense.
The poor guy.
He was tense.
It was a lot for him to coordinate and make sure there weren't any fires starting.
I think it's about time he has this responsibility, though.
I agree. I think he did decent for him.
Decent, yeah,
for Tom
sure.
Schwartz standards.
Yeah, when he's like, "You're not going to cry on me. You're not going to cry on me, are you?" To Tom Sandoval. I cuts to Tom Sandoval crying all the time.
Sheena says hi to him at the airport, starts crying. My heart broke a little bit for him.
I don't know. Are we a Sandoval apologist?
I'm not like an apologist, but just seeing how he truly does want to like mend the. I mean, yes, he has to apologize to start and like put it out there and apologize to everybody, but he really just wants something as little as Sheena saying hi to him made him cry and made his day because that's how badly he wants to have their friendships back.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm on the fence of if the tears and the performance is real and genuine or if it's not. I do think his mental health struggle. I think he's truly
so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And he's just like a kicked puppy that's just like preparing for the worst.
I was watching with my brother's girlfriend and she's like, we need him to drop his nail routine. Is this
he
gel?
had such
a
nice
Gel X?
like ombre.
A white with a design.
Yeah, it was nice.
I think he has been spotted at
he's always
a salon, so he doesn't do his own nails. They
were looking
professional.
Good.
They were looking crisp. Tom Sandoval, my heart will ache a little bit for him, but then he goes back and says things like, we weren't malicious, and it's like, just besides the point. I need to talk about the outfits that they chose at the Wolf. And this may have gone over your head, but Tom Sandoval was actually the most appropriately dressed because you had Lala dressed fully ahead of the trend curve, not as a mob wife, as a mobster. She had this weird vest over this printed top. Like they're in Lake Tahoe. And then you had Shayna in a feather crop top, ready for the club. And then you had Allie in her Skims dress, which that's innocent enough. And then Tom in this little like Midwestern getup, which was good. But I'm just like, where do they think they're going?
You act surprised by this. I was not shocked in the slightest.
It just was so off to me.
Of course, but I don't think they've ever been one to dress for the location. Like
that's true.
You can take the people out of West Hollywood, but you can't take the West Hollywood.
Yep. Yeah, you really can't. You can't take the mobster out of La La ever.
No. I mean, definitely the juxtaposition of the location that they were in was that Lisa's restaurant?
Yes. The Wolf.
The ambiance was giving like weird hotel cabin, ski lodge, restaurant.
Great Wolf Lodge.
Yes, it was giving more Great Wolf Lodge than it was the Wolf.
Oh my gosh, I hope that they have those wand things where you can do a hunt.
Yes. So it was hard for me to like put Lisa Vanderpump in this atmosphere.
Been here before. It's given Lincoln Logs and Great Wolf Lodge.
I'm just used to her like Las Vegas
lights,
huge chandeliers from what's his name,
diamonds.
Yeah. This was much more understated.
Her with the actual wolf. Yeah. Wild, crazy.
Great Wolf Lodge.
Great Wolf Lodge. Yeah. Oh my gosh, they should do a collab.
They should do a collab. That would be a great crossover.
Like an elevated Great Wolf Lodge. I would go.
I would.
Where you don't spend time in the actual lake, you go in the indoor water park.
Yes, exactly.
The temperature controlled indoor water park. Why wasn't that in more trailers of Tom Sandoval just taking out his inner demons on the wall
Yeah.
Worm with a mustache. James. Lala. That was his Academia cringe moment. That was hard
I don't think anybody was prepared for it. They were like, okay, we're going to go. Let's move on. Wasn't supposed to escalate to that.
It felt like no one should be, that should be something done in private with, that was hard to watch. I feel like that didn't rattle you as much as it rattled me.
No.
I had to pause it, actually. I was like, this is intense. Wow. Oh, Tom Sandoval just going in for a selfie with Brock.
Oh, yes. I never take selfies. He definitely gravitated to Brock the most.
He was definitely like, okay, when are you going to... I got to go in for this. No, no. He's not looking now. Yo, dude, I never get selfies. Click. Like, oh. Lala isn't bothering me because she's ready to forgive Tom Sandoval. She's bothering me because the inconsistency in her arguments and just the lack of sense in her arguments. When she was like, Rachel changing her name back to... Or Rachel, like, so what? Like, saying that she's taking her name back. Like, I will go by Lala. Like, I don't know. I don't even know what she was saying. But the point is, she would be offended if people started calling her Lauren if Lala went through a big scandal. She wants to be called Lala. So I just thought her criticism of Rachel trying to go back to the name Rachel didn't totally make sense. I'm like, Lala, you could just as easily go through the same situation and
have the same argument.
Yeah. I don't know. It just didn't make sense. So it was a weird trip. It was a weird trip. And
I
think it's still going on, but in the show.
Oh, I thought you meant like right now.
They're stuck in Tahoe.
They're still in Tahoe. Still at the Great Wolf Lodge. There was a point where they went back to Ariana in the house, which was very hard for me to watch, of her being on FaceTime with their designer, going through every piece of furniture in their house.
That was one of my favorite scenes.
Being like, how much is this? Was this custom design? This is mine. How much was this? Was this expensive? And the designer just being like, that's really expensive. And kind of going through like what she wanted to keep. But at the end of the day, also, I wouldn't want any of that shit in that house.
It's all her ego. It's all
her ego. The first thing I would want to do would be get out of that house and buy an entire new furniture, everything. I wouldn't want anything to remind me of this scumbag. Like, why do you want to hold on to this stuff?
I could have Birkins and
unless you want to hold on to it to resell it and get money off of that. That makes sense. Yeah. But if you wanted to bring to your new life, like, why? It's just like, come on.
I mean, the Lego mural shrine.
The artist can redo it with just you. No, just move on.
Move on. Like, you guys need to be taking a hammer to that wall. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's not that I don't have empathy for Ariana. It's that it's hard to watch because it's like you want her to move on and get to this new chapter and embrace this new chapter. And it feels like she is not actually ready to do that. And she's doing it under the guise of, Tom's not ready. It's like, Ariana, you have choice in the matter. And yes, it may mean taking a little bit of a loss, but trust me, you will come out on top. You're making how much money from this scandal, and your mindset and person is who you are as a person is going to make you on top. And it just kind of sucks to be caught up in the nitty gritty.
I wonder if she is holding on to it because, like, now we know she wasn't paying Tom all of this, and she probably actually has a lot less money than we thought she did at the time. So I wonder if she's holding on to that stuff because she knows how much she's going to end up owing Tom once this all goes through. And she's just trying to, like, dig her heels in and be like, this is a custom made chandelier. I will keep that.
Yeah, that's
and just
so
kind of
true.
like having a tally of like shit.
Yeah,
realizing
that's so
she
true.
Is probably actually going to be worse off. I don't know.
And this does filter into something we're about to talk about, which is kind of the lawsuits all going on that Rachel
is suing
Ariana and Tom for revenge porn charges, which this is something where I'm ready for Rachel to move on, because if you go back to when Scandival happened, she immediately sent a cease and desist, and Ariana went on Sheena's podcast in August explaining this all too. Rachel sent them a cease and desist for any content that related to the video that Ariana found on Tom's phone. They immediately had to have their lawyers turn in proof that they had they weren't holding on to that video. And they proved that. That was back in March.
And now for her to be coming out
why
with this
are you
new
coming
lawsuit?
back with this new lawsuit? Revenge porn is, no matter how bad you cheat on someone, you should never have that video circulating. And I think she has the right to protect herself. But Ariana said in August, she's like, she had the right to do that. That was doing her due diligence to send that cease and desist. I have no problem with that. For now, all this time later, this is feeling a little bit like victimization of, you sent that video. They've proven they don't have it. Let's like move on. I don't know. I just don't understand where the argument is. Unless there's something we don't know. I don't know. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Tired.
I think everybody in Vanderpump we gotta move on. That needs to be like, let's
move on.
Let's go. I think we said it last week we're just kind of like,
yeah,
we gotta muster up the energy to stick with it and see it through.
And Summer House really has my heart right now, but I'm a loyal fan. I'm a loyal
We'll see it
watcher.
through the end because this is, for all we know, this is the last season. So we got to see it through the end.
You think?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I hope so. If there's another season, what else are they going to have to top Scandival?
I know.
There's really nowhere to go
That's
from
so
here.
true.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
So I think just since we have so much to talk about,
I know we realize that we're only like halfway through our topics.
I know. So we have to do a little two-parter. They really are. And I want to give them
the attention they deserve.
Yes.
So we're going to have to make this into 2 parts.
Okay.
So we don't have a 2-hour-long podcast. We're going to talk about, on the next part, we've got Love is Blind, which is a ton to unpack as well.
Yeah, so much.
Lawsuit with Bravo and
that's a biggie.
Leah.
I have so many thoughts.
Followed by a rabbit hole of the week.
Yes.
So we'll have all that coming in part 2.